Alright, welcome back everyone. Today I am preparing another demo and I want to go over a few things. As you can see right now, the terrain is different. We have some issues. You can see all the repeatable patterns are along the way, and the setup we're using today is actually from Synty Studios. Again, we're using Polygon Sci-Fi Worlds. And unfortunately, there are not that many texture layers or terrain layers as we would like to see usually from the terrain. Because in the demo scene, they are not using a terrain, they are using a mesh, so they just have a textured mesh. Right. So to fix that, I had to create the texture layers. Sorry about that, just had to mute for a second, coughing. So in my prefab folder, or my MicroVerse folder, I created these textures. They're just normal terrain layers with the Synty textures on them. And many of them don't even have the normal map, it doesn't exist, so I used a different one just to get some sort of depth. Of course, later we can translate or convert all of this into, let's say, a microsplat, and we can get rid of the repeatable pattern, and there are many ways we can do this, but that's not the concern right now. So you might see this stone popping in and out, and if we move around the terrain, oh, suddenly disappeared. You can see there's some popping here. And I noticed people asking on Discord, how do I adjust the render distance? Well, this is not really a render distance issue. It's because these things I put in with MicroVerse, I put them in as trees. So I have this one called, I just call it open area. So if you look, it's just random stuff. But I can't see it. If I go up close, they pop in as we move along, as you can see. It's fine right now while I'm working on it. It helps me work faster. Doesn't slow down my computer as much. But if I want to see them all, go into terrain on the right, settings, scroll down, then under tree and detail objects you have this one called tree distance. So if we just slide that up, yeah, the terrain is 1000, right? So the most I ever would need is from this corner to that corner over there, so at 1500, then I should be able to look across the terrain. Almost. You can see in the distance, just slide it up and down. But at some point you can see we're missing it over here. And that's a camera distance viewport. But this is fine. Now we can actually see items here, right? And then we can start working on them, making sure they don't stick out like this. This is a big problem with Synty assets because they are all based on a flat surface. There are ways to fix this. We can just go back to this one, and if we find this exact same one, I think is this one. There's like an antenna and a barrel. This one. There's nothing to adjust here except the sync. So you can see the sync is already at 1.5. If we just play with this slider, you can see we can do something like that. Then it's in the terrain. And in theory, we could do it with all of them. So we could just drop them all up. Or we could set up rules, because really we could just say we don't want these on a slope like this. And the best way to deal with that is actually to take these items with the flat bottom and put them into their own, let's say, prefab, right? Right now I just dropped everything in because I want to see how it looks. So the rocks like these, they're fine, but they're actually a lot bigger. So if we go through the terrain, you can see they're very big. The antennas we don't see because they're massive right now, and that's because I've been playing around with the, let's say, the weight. The weight determines how often they should appear. So if we just, there we go, we got one over there and one right here. And with objects like this, I just want to keep it really low. But still random, right? Again, you can see we have a slope issue with this one. So it should really go into its own prefab. I'll probably do that later. Right now this was just for experimentation. Then of course we also have the splines. If you notice at the top, I'm at I downgraded to 2021 for this one. Normally I run in 2022, or at least this year I've been doing. Just to show that spline actually works. I see a lot of people saying splines are not working in 21. It's working fine. The problem is as soon as you install MicroVerse, you will see some errors about splines, floats or something missing. And the way to fix that is to go to your package manager. Wonder where that went. Oh. And then you go to Unity registry. Well, you don't have to, but here you can verify what you got installed, right? So you can see I got Splines 2.1. And to install Splines, you can see up here the name. It is working the same way as Git. So previously, well, in the old days, I would go into Git and I would type Unity Splines version 2.1, something like that. And this should throw an error eventually. That's Streamlabs. It shouldn't be possible like that. It looks like it was okay. We got no warnings or alarms, so it's all good. But how you do it now, I learned how I do it now, is I add package by name, Unity Splines. Is it with an S or without? We use an S. And then it will add it. Very nice. Let's jump to a different scene, because in this demo I will be using Malbers again. And I've been playing around with setting up a character controller. I'm just going to use a Malbers controller this time. And then you might be wondering, you can see at the top of the screen it says Game Creator. Yes, we do have Game Creator installed. We also have ML AI, as you can see. But Game Creator I will use for NPCs. I find it super easy just to run some animations with a Game Creator, so it's good for NPC work. I don't like it for a character controller at the moment because I'm missing a lot of features. I'm using Game Creator too. MLAI, good for wildlife, stuff like that. Anyway, back to the scene. Here we go. So as you can see, we have test set up here. 2 other Synty assets. The dog, or wolf, hellhound it's called, is from the Synty dogs pack. There's something we need to adjust with the saddle, you can see. If I look in Synty Studios. Polygon dog. And the character is from the one called Sci-Fi Space. working great. Setting up these is not so bad. Let's see if we jump. We can't jump right now because I disabled it. So the main problem here was the wolf. Changing the character on a Malbers player character is super easy. So if we take a look, you can see it says rider AC mount. That's basically from, where is it? Horse animation set pro under prefabs. Is it? Yes. Is it demos? Rider, yeah, and this one was called AC Combat, so it's this guy. Normally he's a cowboy, like this, right? And I changed the mesh to this guy. And if we compare, if we take the two of them next to each other and unfold, you can see this one has the mesh and the rig disabled. So if I enable, you can see the cowboy is still here, right? Just disable those. And then I put in my own mesh. I adjust the character avatar. I'm still using the same animation controller. And on the Synty asset itself, sometimes there is a controller here. Just remove that. Basically, you don't need the animator. But I leave it. If I don't need to change anything, I don't. But one of the things I found we need to do is we need to go into the bones of the Synty characters on the head. I think it's this one, neck. We need to add this tag. Malbers uses this for correct head movement. And that's all. That's basically how simple it is to add a mesh or change the mesh. The wolf, on the other hand, that's a completely different matter. Initially, I went to the forest pack. I got the wolf from the forest pack here, and rideable, and we got the rideable mount, right? So this one. And I was thinking maybe we could just change the mesh. However, if I go in and change the mesh, there are so many things that won't work anymore. So I actually found just creating a new animal. So I just took the Synty wolf, and then I added the packs I needed on top. I tried to copy from the other one. So I copied things over, disabled them to get it working. But finally we got it working, and I think the biggest challenge was actually the Animator controller. Where is it? States, root, locomotion, this one. So we had to find some animations that would actually work with this mesh, because the standard animation that came with Malbers, they're great, but they won't work with the Synty asset. At least I haven't found a good way to make them work together. And also things like jumping. Normally Malbers has another state right here. And I'm really struggling because I just added the jumping, right? So if we take a wolf so we can see what's going on. So jumping. And it's it's not great. Let's see. So if we go into the controller, where is it? If we enable jump, we get on wolf. He's not even jumping right now. States. Jump, it's right there. It's space. Oh, it's been disabled. So jump. Well, actually it could work, but you can see I'm in this loop now. I'm not touching. It just keeps going, so somehow I need to make sure to have an exit time on the animation, or only run it once, because it will keep going. And you're basically, I can't do anything else right now. It's stuck in this jump. So until I figure that out, I'm just gonna leave it disabled. Yeah, pretty sure it has to do with the animator. I also tried to just create a transition to exit. Of course, that's not going to work. We need to make sure the animation has stopped first, but by default, I don't think that is needed. Anyway, we figure it out. So that's some of the basics. So right now the terrain setup is under control. I'm going to build like a small base or something, and the idea is you come in as a player riding on your hellhound on this foreign planet, and we'll add in some NPCs and some wildlife, something like that, and just make it a nice scene. And as you can see, I added some other things like these from FImpossible. I like to use these, so it's hard to see. I got ground fitter, look animator, which we're going to use because we want to trigger a character looking when you pass him. We can actually show that right now. So if we take a character, Synty Studios, take a normal character. Come. Let's see. Take this guy. Oh, game creator. Well, in theory, we don't need game creators. This we can do it with anything. But yeah, it's prefab unpack completely. Game creator, characters, character. Oh. What's going on? Oh, it needs to prefab, that's right. It's been too long since I've been playing with this. We also need to create a Synty skeleton, otherwise you can see the bones are weird. So let's just scenes, create. Where is it? Game creator, characters, skeleton. Just want to create it from this guy. It's fine. And then drop the skeleton in there. Yes. Synty skeleton. There we go. So by default, these characters have a idle state where they're just standing. Right? Save, play. Let's go have a look. You can see he's just standing there. No reaction whatsoever. Kick to the groin, yeah. Okay, so with look animator we can go into the character, and I'm not sure if we have to add it actually to the head or we just do it on the root. Let's do it on the root, just for why not. Look. There we go. Find head. Yes. We just added the script. We clicked auto find head, and then we want to object to follow. So this is where he's going to look. And we have different options, but right now it's empty, so nothing will happen. But let's say we take the player, and we already have this this tag called tag, but we can also, I'm not sure how we track this. We can find out later. But I want to find the head, so he's looking at his eyes. I'm not sure what it's going to detect, but actually to trigger this, I'm going to add a sphere collider to the character. Sphere collider. I'm gonna make it 2. I'm gonna turn it into a trigger, and then we're actually going to write a small script just to, when the player enter, let's see, rider, does he have a tag? He has the tag animal. Does he even have a collider? He got a rigid body, that should be enough to trigger. If not, then we'll add a collider. Where is it? Here we go. So we want to see when is the player entering this box. When the player is entering the box, we're just gonna assign the player to this transform. I just realized something. Maybe we could actually use Game Creator for this. Trigger, enter. And if the trigger tag on trigger enter collider. Oh, that's the event we can run. That's actually beautiful. That will tell us if we can do it. FL look animator. Set look target. Ah, that's beautiful. Okay, then we just need a different action, right? And this is not from Game Creator. This is from, I think that's from Malbers, right? We're just gonna do our own. Trigger enter tag. If the tag is animal, that means he will also look if animals go in. We want to store the player, or we can set game object. Let's see how we can do that. So we definitely want to invoke the look animator, and we want to set, where did it go? Set look target. Yeah, so we need to assign the transform here somehow. Right now we can just drag in the player because we're testing and we know it's him. But normally we actually have to store it, so we would have to create a small object like a local variable to store and then assign it to this. Okay. Trigger exit tag when animal leaves. Invoke script plus look animator 2. Do we have one to clear? Stop all codes, switch looking, reset. We could just set it as nothing. I'm not sure it will work. I would actually put in null. We could put in a temporary object so he just looks back at what maybe he's doing, because yeah, let's see if it's working. That's all we did. Where is he? So he's over there. Yeah, you can see he's looking at his feet. And you can also see we are not able to reset to non-transform, we have to do something else. Table. Prefab. Prefab unpack. Create cube. NA target. Go to the character. We set this. That means when he's not looking at the player, he will look down at this cube afterwards. And let's just remove the render. Character. Let's increase the speed to 4, 3. There we go. So when you're on the other side of the table, he will look. On the player, we need to assign a look at target. So we could just do the head for now. There we go. Oh, stop that. Hit play, try again. Yes, he looks at the head. And if we walk away, he looks down on the table. Walk up. There we go. That's how easy it is. And then of course we can do all sorts of tweaks to make this even better. Another reason I added FImpossible's creations is let's do a base on the tail first. So we got the tail animator. So you can see it's wagging its tail, it's happy or barking right now. It's just an idle, it's running. So what we can do is we can go to the wolf mount, find its tail. Oh, it actually has its own tail. Not sure if that's a good thing, because normally we would have it routed to the spine somewhere, but let's see what we do up here. So, back end of the tail selected. Tail animator 2. Start bone. Tail. And now you can see it added the bones. And we can adjust some features. So tail animator is taking over the animation, and we can adjust how it will work. So let's just go into play. Switch back to scene. Turn off the gizmos for now. And we can turn off the on or off how strong the different animations are. And you can see it's not working. And I'm pretty sure the reason it's not working is the setup of the structure and the mesh. I think we can grab the mesh somewhere. Can't find the mesh, and that's because of my crazy setup here with with all of this. So if I go into hellhound, root, IK, spine, tail, go to the other tail. Let's remove it here. Remove. Go into hellhound tail. Tail animator. Tail C00. Yes, yes. Let's see if yes, looks better. Again, let's try. Want to stay in scene, just watch the tail. You can see the bones work better here. and we can definitely adjust how it's working. So this is without tail animator, and here we have it a bit more stiff. And that's really up to you what you want. We're taking over the animation. The problem is really still we're using these two. I still haven't found a good way to integrate different meshes into Malbers animals controller. And I think the next step is actually, I gotta start from scratch. I'm gonna go drag in the hellhound again as the prefab, original prefab, and then I'm going to have to go through the steps manually, adding the input, or maybe the animal first, then creating all the states here. Well, in theory, you only need walking, right? We'll see how it goes down. And then I think we're pretty set. Then it's all about decoration and building. So we got some. That's Animal Deluxe. I was looking for animation, that's why I installed that one. Didn't find any good wolf animations I could use on Synty. There we go. Got some flies. And I installed one of the older. Apparently, it's now. What do they call it? Well, they discontinued it, and that's a shame because I like this one. It's called Artificial Cells. Lucky, the good thing about buying stuff on the asset store is you can still download it. So you can see. Deprecated. Yeah, you can find it at an asset store, and if we click on the link, it just shows it doesn't exist anymore. Which is a shame. This one was really good. I enjoyed this. It has and still does have some nice features. Some of them don't really work anymore, but with a little tweaking you can get them working, and I definitely intend to use some of them. So we get some rain effects, right? That's waterfall, rain. There's also sound on these. Gas leak, so this is one of the ones not really showing anything anymore. You can see there's something going on here. I think it's scaling. But it's invisible now, but it's there. It's there. What do we have here? Bubbles. See them on the floor. Gives a nice effect. Underwater effect. And by the way, it's a working underwater effect. It's just changing the post-processing, right? Cave ambience, so you get the hollow sound. Low fog, that's really nice, or mist as they call it. Well, fireflies is one thing, we can just create those ourselves really fast. Well, we probably could with all of them, but I haven't really looked at something like fireflies. I used a lot before, so that's 5 minutes with the particle system, then you're done. But I really enjoy these, and I enjoy them ready-made like this, so I can just get going really fast. And this terrain we just looked at, this is not how we are going to do it. This was just for me to set up MicroVerse, so I have it in my browser. So now I have this one called Sci-Fi Worlds, which is what we're looking at. Same with vegetation. Right now the vegetation is just everything. I need to split this up, and I'll probably make a prefab vegetation prefab, and I might drop it under objects instead. Because it makes more sense. Of course it gives it a wrong impression because it doesn't belong on the objects, but something like antennas and stuff like that, I just want it there. It has no effect except decoration, just like the trees here, or vegetation. But it makes more sense to have it on the object, so I might just change that. Cool, I think that's all we really need. Oh yeah, Emerald AI. So Emerald AI, I installed some animal assets. I was looking for some alien looking animals. I couldn't find any, and I don't want to start buying a lot for this demo scene. So I don't have any alien assets except the ones that maybe come with the ground feather. I know there is a demo alien. Character controller, there we go. So if we hit play, we have this spider type. So this is just to showcase some procedural movement, right? Which is extremely cool. I love this. Oh, it's way over there. Some of these animals are really creative. Look at the face, it's an F, like his company name. And here we have the scorpion type. And I have been using this extensively for other things, because it's really just add the scripts, hit play, and then you got the animation. I'm extremely impressed, and it's basically just procedural movement. It's a shame I can't use that on Emerald AI. So I would use an Emerald AI NPC or character, and I'll just add this, and then it will just smoothly go around its business. Of course, we could write an API or something that connects those two. The same with the game creator. Game creator NPC connected with a ground feather or something would be really ideal, because ground feather just makes it easier, especially if you're dealing with general models or generic models. Non-human models is probably a better way to put it, meaning more than 2 legs. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I haven't made anything on the demo scene yet. I only been playing around, preparing, see what I need. You can see I made a path here testing the spline. It's working absolutely brilliantly. One thing I also noticed is, so normally for you to paint any texture, right? So let's say we have this texture, we want to add something else. We need to use the terrain layer. So then we can paint, right? Or we need to add a new terrain layer. Very nice. What I found is when I right-click MicroVerse, create a spline, and that's a Unity spline, by the way. And we just create a nice path like this. Boom, boom, boom. Add component, spline. This one, spline path from MicroVerse. It takes over. And you can see, just adding the script, we already started to see some changes here. So we can adjust the width, the smoothness, the trends. Pretty cool, or extremely cool. And even better, so we can change the texture. Embankment, that's really what's on the side. Splat map is what we put on top. So if we look at this, we can see some of these we don't have on the Unity terrain. So if we look at the terrain, we have pebbles, rust, snow, metal, and junk. That means moss, for example, or playground we don't have. But if I click it and add it, it will be added. Playground is maybe a bad example because it got nothing on it. Moss, then it got nothing. But now it's been added to the terrain layer, and well, it's hard to see, but you can see it's becoming more and more green down here. And if we add the layer, playground, and then we can start adjusting. How cool is that? Height noise. Yes, let's add some noise. Embankment easing, smooth step. Yes, embankment noise. Nice offset. Yeah, sure, why not? Basically, you're just moving this around. Notice the what do we call it? Can't remember. But it's basically just a image with some pictures on it, and we are adjusting the size, we're adjusting the scale of the color, so we go from all black to all white, right? And this translates into zeros and ones, where 0 is most likely all black, or white is so we inverse it. You can see it's inversed when we go to negative range, then we can dig. That's brilliant. Offset, we just move it around to get some randomness. Balance, all white, all black. There we go. So, I really enjoy how the splines are working now. I think they are working a lot better than what I've seen before. Way better than Unity splines on their own. Just by adding, of course, this one is Unity splined, and this one is the script from Jason Booth. But it makes it so easy to create a path or anything. Imagine you want a path up the hill or between a city or something. You can just attach a texture to it instead. Really nice. Alright guys, I think that's it for this preparation video. Or what tools did I use to create the video? So the demo video, I haven't made it yet. I will get on it, and this video will most likely be posted after I created the demo video as a how-to. Because I think we went over all the things I will be using. Well, one more thing I might be using is the animation or the sequencer. So we have the Unity timeline sequencer. You can set up a sequence and then trigger a event, but I'm pretty sure that's a video for an episode on itself, or could be quite lengthy going over these. Yeah, well, both of these, both the timeline tool and the animation tool itself, they're actually very large topics. Yeah, we need to create a clip first. The same with the timeline, we need to create a director component. I enjoy both, especially for cutscenes, and if you combine these with something like the look animator from FImpossible, you also, what's the other one called? It's animation something. This one, Animation Designer, amazing tool. Use that to for example, I should use it really now because you can see we are missing animations for the wolf. And yeah, let's update that because I think after this video I will probably be creating new animations for the wolf, and I will be using this tool. Re-download, yeah. So the funny thing, you can see I'm struggling with downloading and importing, and that's because I've been using 2022 and I've moved the asset storage folder to a different drive, and now when I load up a older version where I don't have this opportunity, it still puts it in the new location, and then when I try to click import, it's failing because Unity understands it's downloaded. Where did we put it? Let me go all the way to C. Unity store folder, assets, FImpossible. You can see tail, spine, look, ground. And normally Unity will put it in app data. Oh, let's try that again. And then Unity, and then under this one, empty, empty. Well, it's still storing temporary here, right? But I needed to save some room, so that's why I moved everything. Is this taking up any space here? Ah, it's nothing. Yeah, so of course, oh, even, that's related to what's going on in scene. So of course when I click import, we just checked, there's nothing to import. And sometimes it ends up I need to relaunch Unity to get this working again. Or pull it from, let's say, Unity 2022. Then it's fine again. Alright. Comments, leave them below or jump on Discord, links in the description. Anything else, let me know. Anything else than comments, yeah, that's brilliant. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you don't, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.